Hello, I'm Esther Madison, administrator of Beecroft Manor. I'm here to discuss how the AI-generated motion picture, The Hag of Beecroft, was created. Oh, and yes, I'm an artificial intelligence character from the movie. Steve Gary, the author of the original screenplay, and the producer, director, etc. of these YouTube films, can't be here. Well, because he doesn't have a camera on his computer. Here he is, as seen on his various websites and online profiles, in case you want to know what he looks like. But moving on, I'm happy to substitute for Mr. Gary to give information about how the 96-page screenplay was turned into a 71-minute movie at zero expense, since we're sure that a lot of viewers are curious. First of all, for the techies among you, the tools used in this project were pretty basic and maybe even a bit out of date for 2026. A 4-year-old Windows 11 personal computer. XAI Grok was used as the artificial intelligence generator. MS Paintbrush was used for image editing. VSDC, the free version, was the tool of choice for the video editing function. And, of course, the end product is on the author's YouTube channel, for everyone on the internet to see. Secondly, for a project such as this, practice matters. Mr. Gary created a number of shorter videos and film trailers prior to tackling this project. All of those efforts are available on his YouTube channel or websites. We mention this in the event some viewers feel that we move too quickly or expect too much of them. Some experience with AI and video editing software is assumed. And during this presentation, we'll be showing a lot of screen captures, but links to most of the various elements are included in the description below. As well, in an effort to keep this presentation under several hours, after all, it took Mr. Gary 40 days to create the movie, we'll illustrate the essentials by recreating scene 68 only. Scene 68 is one of my favorites. On the complexity scale of 1 to 10, we rate this scene as maybe a 6. In other words, not everything went smoothly in taking the text from the original screenplay into AI. It contains several elements common to far more challenging scenes, and we even encountered a dead end that we couldn't solve. This led to our accepting a compromise, but all things considered, scene 68 was an easy one, and it came out really delightful. So let's watch the final version of scene 68 before we pull it apart and show how its component shots were created in AI. That will be our emphasis, the preparatory steps and AI issues. The editing in the video editor is another subject altogether. It's a topic discussed extensively elsewhere. And for a little context, we're showing you scene 67 that immediately preceded scene 68.
Ever seen it? No. You? Nope. It's my mom's, but she's never let me watch. Betcha I won't be scared. Betcha will. What's the bet? Bet if your knees jump at any part of it, it means you're scared. And you have to kiss me. What? Aha! My first kiss. Mine too. What'd you think?
Let's begin our analysis. And remember, at any time you can press spacebar to pause or restart the video, or the left arrow key to go back a few seconds. Scene 68 was shot fairly early on in the production in the first week, day 6, as a matter of fact. So some steep learning had already been faced, but we definitely knew we were committed and going to finish the project. In those early days, we were already producing 4 or 5 scenes per day. Scene 42 took the longest to complete, at about 2 days. At our most efficient, we wrapped up 9 short scenes in a single day. One of the most important ways to achieve such progress was to assemble a library of image reference files. It was quite extensive even by the time scene 68 was ready to be created. We already had images of a living room location, and many images of Sam, the little boy, and Bethany, the little girl, are key protagonists. As an aside, when we created an image for a daytime scene and we knew the scene was going to be reused later at twilight or nighttime, we'd ask AI right then to create a twilight version and a nighttime version. It did this very easily, which we then saved for future use. The same went for the characters. We'd create a character image for the first time we needed it, but then we'd play dress up by asking AI to do the same image with a jacket on, or pajamas, and maybe profile or rear views. They all came out very well. This meant that, as the production progressed, the locations and characters folders became filled with dozens of reference images generated via AI that we reused throughout the production. Here are the folders for this production. The next element that we used for shooting each scene was a simple text document. We used Windows Notepad to create it. At the top was the text of the scene from the screenplay. Following this were the actual prompts we sent to AI to create the video clips. And yes, as you see, we retained the final text prompts for every shot, and we did this for every scene in the entire film. However, as mentioned often, we had to make anywhere from 5 to 20 attempts before everything came out right, so we only kept the final successful prompt. This made reshoots or later changes easier to do since we had a solid starting point prompt to work from. But keep in mind that this text document started its life with only the screenplay portion on top. Then, as we entered the prompts for AI, the bottom section got populated. So why were these images and the text document useful, and how did they help in generating the film clips through the AI prompts that we used? Here's how. Having the images open and ready, and the text document open with the original screenplay scene 68 to provide the direction for the AI prompts, we opened up the AI screen in our internet browser. Note that this screen is already a little different from what it was in February 2026. The interface changes regularly as the tool gets updated on an almost weekly basis. However, it's fine for this example. First, we pasted in the location image and the character images. In recent iterations, we can refer to these images and their contents more explicitly. When we began the Hag of Beecroft, we could only refer to obvious things in the image, like the little boy or little girl. AI was generally smart enough to figure out what was what, but it was still a struggle. Also, due to our experience with AI adding visual or sound elements that we didn't want, we added the following preface statement to every prompt. Eventually, we also added and no zooms because we wanted full control of the camera and also because we were making continuous shots in excess of the 6 or 10 seconds that the AI permitted. While this made for fairly static cinematography, it eased the video editing process later on when we stitched the shots together. To us, the story was more important than the fancier elements of film such as zooms and pans and close-ups and tilts and everything we call cinematic. The original script laid out only a few circumstances where things such as close-ups were needed. Otherwise, we really didn't want AI's surprise input on the matter. So before entering anything into artificial intelligence, we had to figure out how much we could cram into each 6 or 10-second clip that the AI interface was going to let us make. We decided that the following screenplay slugline, which describes a clip of the film The Blair Witch Project, would be the first shot of the scene, and therefore would constitute the first AI prompt. We prepared the AI prompt by pasting an image of the television in the living room, and then adding this text. This generated this clip in AI. Note that these clips we'll play are the original 6 or 10-second clips from AI, before being edited in the video editor VSDC to result in the full scene that we played at the beginning. Often, 6 or 10 seconds of AI-generated video became only 2 or 5 seconds of final video, or sometimes we used only the audio track or only the video track. But the AI definitely gave us a good start. Secondly, let's talk about film clearances. For this free movie, being released only on YouTube, we did not obtain clearances to use actual clips from the Blair Witch Project, whose rights are held by Lionsgate. In any case, we didn't have the clips. If we did, fair use may be a suitable defense in using such short clips, but we didn't even use any. We ended up using AI itself to recreate a usable scene from memory. Or I should say, from Mr. Gary's memory. Nor did we mention in the AI prompt that this was to resemble the Blair Witch Project. Nevertheless, what AI came up with, based on the prompt issued to it, is pretty good. However, note that the budget for the actual film, The Hag of Beecroft, has a line item to clear the use of film or music clips when the actual movie is made, the old-fashioned way. So back to the creation of the film clip in AI, it did a good job in this case. I think the second effort was retained as the final version. Lucky, because sometimes shots required 15 or 20 takes before we got what we wanted. Now to the second shot of the scene. Here, before we typed anything in the AI interface, we pasted in the 2 essential images that we were working with, the location of the living room and the 2 child characters. We may have created a close-up of the front of the couch without the pattern throw on it for the kids to sit against. But since it was a one-time usage, we didn't save the image once we were finished with this scene. Here's the scene element in the original screenplay. And here's the final prompt to AI. Fortunately, this one also didn't take too many takes. We got what we wanted in maybe 2 or 3. Very good. Not much action, no dialogue. And just a smooth zoom out to show the table full of goodies in front of the kids as they watch the movie. And by the way, it's nice of you to not show an outrage that the kids don't look exactly like they do in the saved reference image. It's true. For some reason, in this scene, the AI made the kids look younger, about 7 years of age. They're supposed to be 10. This is something we had to watch out for throughout the story, suddenly making characters too short or tall, or hair in a ponytail versus straight, or suddenly speaking with an accent. My character, in fact, Mrs. Madison, seems at times to be nearly 7 feet tall. I'm only 5'7". Anyway, these problems were dealt with as they came along by using more explicit prompts to AI, even to the point of writing, "Do not do this," or "Do not do that." So, on to the third shot of the scene in the screenplay, where we ran into our first challenge. Here's what the script says. This would be a macro camera shot in which hair on the girl's arm brushes against the arm of the boy, which causes him to jump in surprise. However, AI couldn't seem to get close enough to show this clearly. After a dozen tries, we settled on making the girl's finger, deliberately or not, graze the boy's hand that rested alongside hers under the table. Here's the prompt to AI. Incidentally, the AI made the boy's hand react rather sluggishly. To move in a more startled manner, in the video editing stage, we increased the playback speed to 400%. Onto the fourth shot of the scene, we ran into more trouble. Here's the original in the screenplay. There's a lot to show there, and the subtle but expressive movements proved too complex for the few seconds of video available. We decided to focus on the girl's reaction to winning her bet. That is, the story is more important than the minutia. Yet, as we are about to see, AI improvised some parts very well and gave the scene some feeling, even if we had to abandon a few director's directions from the screenplay. Also, we gave AI as much time as we could to sort out the various actions. That's why we specified 10 seconds for this clip versus the default 6 seconds for many other shots.
Aha!
Incidentally, as a bit of a treat, here's one of the bypassed versions of shot number 4. We retain very few unused versions, but this one is fun, so here it is.
Aha!
Some of you may say, "That was great. Why didn't you keep it?" What we didn't like about it was that too many subtleties were dropped, and the kiss was too abrupt. AI tried hard, but we think cramming the big moment of the kiss into the shot, even in a 10-second clip, was rushed. That's why we redid shot number 4 and left the slow, climactic move toward the reluctant kiss as a 5th shot. So, on to this 5th shot of the scene, where again the screenplay source material is rather explicit in how it was to play out. The AI prompt is as follows. This prompt gave us this clip. Note that in the prompt, we had to change kiss in the screenplay to peck due to censorship. Censorship in AI is called moderation. Throughout the project, we had trouble with moderation about a dozen times. The scenes usually involve kids. Here, we didn't even expect the physical kiss to make it on screen, so felt like we got away with one. Kissing definitely did not later in the movie in scene 149. Moderation came up in several other scenes that could be construed as violent, in which children were in the scene. However, some moderations were simply unexplainable. You can't really fight it, but in most cases, moderation wasn't the kiss of death. Usually, the scene just had to be written so that the overly sensitive censors better understood the context. So, finally, we're on to the 6th and last shot of the scene. For once, the text in the screenplay and the AI prompt are virtually the same. Scenes with dialogue may be the easiest to do, as long as you identify clearly the speaker of each and you don't try to cram too much into a 6 or 10-second clip.
My first kiss. Mine too. What'd you think?
The script version reads, "The boy just blinks over and over." So this is an example of where the AI came up with a truly wonderful improvisation for the boy's expression. It was too cute to take out, as you saw. So for this scene, there was some good, a little bad, most of it was easy, and a few sacrifices had to be made from the screenplay source material. Overall, this scene was a pretty successful, 2 hours work. Once again, here's the final scene of all 6 AI shots cleaned up and edited together.
Aha! My first kiss. Mine too. What'd you think?
We hope you enjoyed this presentation about some of the issues involved in translating an original screenplay into an AI live-action animation presentation. Wait, Steve! Ladies and gentlemen, it's Steve Gary. You said you didn't have a camera on your computer. How did you get into this video?
Aha, I just pasted a picture of myself into AI and then asked it to animate me here with you.
Wow.
Of course, this isn't my actual voice, and even the source image is 5 years old. But it's close enough.
It is. It's nice to finally meet you.
You too, one of my favorite characters in the Beecroft stories. But I thought I'd drop in to mention that while AI is potentially a great tool for creators, these are still early days. Changes in the AI happen throughout the production of the Hag of Beecroft. It's almost like when Hollywood made silent movies in the 1920s, before the technology arrived to do sound, or making a black and white film and being halfway through production when somebody discovers how to do color. Oh, I also wanted to note something eagle-eyed viewers probably noticed. In the screenplay and in organizing the shots in AI, the order of shots 1 and 2 in scene 68 is different from the final movie. We had shot 1 as the clip from the Blair Witch Project, and shot 2 had the kids watching it with a table full of goodies in front of them. In the final movie edit, we reversed them. So the kids come first, and the movie clip comes second. This was just a subjective decision made during the video editing stage. Movie makers do it all the time in post-production.
That's where we stand today with artificial intelligence.
Yep. But I want to thank you for this, Esther, and I hope that everybody out there will find it useful.
I'm sure they will. And I really enjoyed being part of the Hag of Beecroft movie, and I look forward to the next stories in the series.
Which we're fundraising for to make the old-fashioned way.
We look forward to it. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed the presentation.